Salute, Elder Black Light. My message is this. See, brothers start getting a little pet money, some legitimate, some illegitimate. In here, Detroit, a lot of brothers start buying property. Christian brothers go to church. When they get renters, they start scamming on the renters, scheming on the renters, running game on the renters running game on the landlords, and lights start getting cut off and water start getting cut off. And my point is this: there was no unity or sympathy for one another. Everybody out for what they can get. Y'all won't scam on the enemy. This is one big scam. The United States of America is one big scam. You are really prisoners of war. You haven't never been compensated. You've never been compensated for your 400 years of getting your life took away from you. What I'm saying is, your life today is not your originality. You are not originally a Caucasian, but you bearing the Caucasian's name, you bearing the Caucasian's lifestyle, and he's totally opposite from the righteous. He's against nature. Everything you see him do is against nature. His homosexuality is spread over to the black community big time. It's against nature. It's unnatural. You can't reproduce. Two people can't reproduce. And God is all about reproduction, producing, not about division, subtraction. But this culture we living in is about that. So this is why this pandemic is being placed upon y'all. Even though your enemy is trying to destroy you, by you behaving like your enemy, you start destroying yourself. You were scared to fight back. Just like right now, it's an attack on you. But you're scared to do anything but march up and down the street and tear up property. See, brother against brother. And you go to court the woman go to court on the man, he beat up on the woman. No unity in the community, no family structure. So you're going to have to suffer unless you start waking up. But getting back to Chief Craig and Black Lives Matter and Detroit Could Breathe and all them, it's all orchestrated by your enemy, the Caucasian. And I disagree with Chief Craig about changing the system from within. But you can be a buffer either way. You can be a buffer for the Caucasian, or you can be a buffer for the black man. I say Chief Craig is a buffer for the black man. But that brother that's with Detroit can breathe, he's a buffer for the enemy. Because the enemy, if you get rid of Chief Craig, the enemy is going to send some provocateurs in. Then comes the Army or the UN, one of them. I want to hear from Chief Craig, his real heart.
I'm a lawyer, but to my clients, I'm more than that. I'm a fighter, a winner. I'm their...
With 4 days of protest here in Detroit, we turn now to Detroit. With 4 days of protest here in Detroit, we turn now to Detroit Police Chief James Craig, who is joining us now live with more on the demonstrations. Chief Craig, thank you for being with us today.
You're so welcome. I'm glad to be here to talk to you.
I know you have been dealing with so much. Your force has been working nonstop practically over the last 4 days. First of all, what was your reaction to what seemed like a change in tone of the protests yesterday?
You know, certainly ecstatic over a peaceful protest. And, you know, that's certainly something we've always wanted. We've said publicly time and again how much we support the protesters and certainly their voices on the tragic killing of Mr. Floyd in Minneapolis. And I took a very firm stand on that officer early on. Within 24 hours, it was clear to me that he should have been arrested. And I also acknowledge the fact that he was, you know, dismissed from the police department. But that said, you know, we have something that really works here in Detroit that not only do I praise the men and women who wear the uniform, who go out and put their lives on the line every day, but also our community leaders, our activists who are on the ground with us in supporting a peaceful protest. And, you know, from what I saw yesterday, magical. I know you referenced the young man, the 16-year-old, who really took a leadership role, and that's what defines Detroit.
I tell you what, at the age of 16, too, it really is remarkable to see what he was able to accomplish there. It was nice to hear that the mayor giving him some praise. I do have to ask you, Chief, about that video that surfaced Sunday during what may have been one of the diciest moments of the weekend, where it appeared to see, we saw some police officers maybe pushing one individual, and you launched an investigation. What have you uncovered in that investigation?
Well, as I reported out yesterday, we've identified the initial officer. I was just briefed, probably within 30 minutes of this interview, that we've identified the second officer. So our internal affairs, we're taking very prompt action. We're conducting one of the two interviews today. And so, again, we hold all of our officers accountable.
It's Police Chief. He joins us tonight. Chief Craig, thanks so much for coming on tonight. So I just can't resist asking you this, since you are the police chief of Detroit, a city that was flattened by riots in 1967. What are the lessons that, and it really hurt the city, as you know. I married a woman from Detroit. What are the lessons of that experience for you as the police chief of that city?
Well, you know, I grew up here, Tucker, and again, thanks for having me on this show. I always enjoy it. I'll tell you, I lived here at that time. I grew up. I remember the civil unrest in '67. 10 years later, I'm a Detroit police officer. Didn't want to be a Detroit police officer. And it was probably one of the best decisions I made, because I understood, and my dad reinforced, if you want to be about change, become part of the institution. And so, of course, I went on to Los Angeles, and now I've returned years later. But there were a lot of dynamic moves made over the years in a positive way. You know, the city really understanding what defines community and neighborhood policing. Many police departments talk that, but they really don't understand what that relationship truly looks like. And so many get it wrong when they just talk at the community. But you got to talk with the community. And that doesn't mean that you're going to have those individuals who are going to go sideways on you at any given time. But I'll tell you, Tucker, you know, and I've listened to a lot of what you said leading up to my interview, and I couldn't agree with you more. You know, we support the anger. We don't support that mob mentality. We just can't support it. You know, I praise the swift action of Minneapolis and dealing with the officers in terms of their occupation. However, one thing that oftentimes get missed, and I'm coming up on my 44th year in this business. You know, we talk about probable cause. We talk about what police officer can and can't do. Many times we go to a scene of an incident, maybe a violent crime. There's evidence to support the arrest should be made, and we do that as police officers. Everybody's outraged, even when I saw the video of this officer who clearly wasn't overcoming a violent resisting suspect.
Right. I agree.
Even that, he continued to apply pressure to his neck. And that point alone, is when he crossed over from being a police officer to a criminal.